Guys, good morning. Rihanna Cole here, Activities Coordinator for the UCC Health and Wellness Club. And today we have a very special guest, Esther. Okay, Mr. Linton. Mr. Linton, guys, is a cardiovascular perfusionist. I know many of you guys hear that term and is thinking, perfusionist, fragrance. No, so he actually works very closely with the cardiovascular surgeons. So we have a few questions for him today, and I just want you guys to follow along with me as we learn something new. So Mr. Linton, how are you doing today?
I am not too bad. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. A bit tired, but I'm okay. So tell us a little bit about yourself before we dive into the questions.
Okay. So I already said my name. I'm Moses Linton. I've been working here for about 6 years now, but I actually just finished my master's in cardiovascular perfusion. So I'm fairly new, but I've also been around for a bit. So I really enjoy what I do, and I'm glad that I have this opportunity to share some of what I know.
Of course, and we're grateful for you taking the time out to actually speak with us. So we have a few questions here just to give everyone a bit more insight into what it is you do, how you assist in saving lives, and how we as students and individuals can actually protect ourselves. Okay. So the first one we have is, which machine does a perfusionist primarily operate during any form of surgery? And if there's a case of a malfunction, how do you guys operate with that?
All right. So the main machine is called a cardiovascular bypass machine. Cardiopulmonary bypass machine. It's what takes over the function of the heart and the lungs while the patient is on bypass. What that means is that during the open heart surgery, we're going to be stopping the heart. So the heart doesn't beat, so that the surgeon has a still feel to work in, because if they're trying to make a correction and the heart is beating, you might stick somewhere you shouldn't. So to keep the heart still, we actively stop the heart. And so the machine keeps the patient alive essentially while the heart is stopped, as well as the lungs. That's the main machine. There are others that help. For example, a heater cooler that's next to the bypass machine that's used to regulate temperature. Sometimes we might have to cool the patient down and then warm them back up just to help with metabolism.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that. So essentially, for that period of surgery, medically, that person is dead?
Some definition of death, yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, guys. So we're learning that, they essentially stop our heart.
And we started it right.
And we started. Okay, that's good to know. And what is the smallest mistake in perfusion that could have the biggest consequence?
There are so many mistakes that can happen that are life-threatening. One that comes to mind though, and very grateful it hasn't happened, but during the procedure, you have a reservoir where the blood is drained into, and we shouldn't let that reservoir empty, because if the reservoir empties, then air gets in, and if air gets into the patient, it can block arteries, it can block vessels, and it would lead to severe problems. So in terms of what might seem like a small mistake, if we allow that level to go too low, it can have serious problems. But again, I'm very grateful it hasn't happened.
That is good.
And another good thing is how the pump is set up. It has some safety features that helps you to not have that happen.
Okay. That's good. Now, I have a question here, and I'm sure a lot of people tend to get these mixed up, but what is the difference between heart disease, heart failure, and cardiac arrest?
All right, so heart disease, it's the general term. So if I mentioned coronary arteries being blocked, that's a heart disease. You might also have mitral stenosis or mitral regurgitation. Those are valves in the heart. So you might have different conditions that fall under heart disease. Heart failure has to do with the heart not doing what it's supposed to. So it might mean that the right side that supplies the oxygen to your lungs, it could be that that's dilated or it's hypertrophied. There's something wrong, that it's not pumping as much as it should. And because of that, it has a long-term effect, because then if the blood isn't being oxygenated properly, then the rest of the body isn't getting the oxygen that it needs.
Correct.
So heart failure has to do with the heart not doing as much as it's supposed to.
Okay.
And the last one, cardiac arrest, that has to do with similarly the blocking of an artery. So that's where a section of the heart might not get as much blood as it should. And so a part of the heart might actually die, like some of the cells. So if that happens for extended period, then you might not get back those cells. But that's why we have the bypass surgery, the grafting, to try and resupply that area with oxygen so that the cells don't die. The arteries get blocked because of plaque, because of cholesterol.
Okay.
So diet plays a very big part, right? So whether that's fatty foods or constantly eating the fast food, those tend to have problems later down. And what I've actually been noticing is when I just started out, there are a lot of older patients that we have, so like maybe 60s, 70s, 80s. But in recent times, we've been getting some 40s and 50s. And while that might still fairly old, that's for a cardiac surgery, that's young. And I think at one point there was maybe even a 30-year-old. So the age is dropping. So it's really important, or I'm glad that I'm able to share now that people don't think, oh, I'm still young, I don't have this to worry about. What you eat or how your exercise pattern, routine, all of this plays a part, and it's important to try and prevent it from now rather than to wait till later.
Wow, thank you for that. And you wouldn't think at such a young age that you have to worry about what you eat. And as Jamaicans, when we're tired or when we're in a rush, fast food is our go-to.
Yeah.
It's our go-to. So hearing this now, it makes a lot of us stop and think that, okay,
Become more aware.
we have to become more aware. And there are also other foods that has a lot of natural oil, like avocado, the butters, even some of the oils we cook with.
Right.
Okay. And, I would have asked you the lifestyle changes, but as you said, diet and exercising. So it's not just what you eat, having, even if it's not going to the gym, but maybe walking,
right.
something, anything that keeps the heart pumping.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. But does hypertension and diabetes damage the heart over time as well?
They actually do. When you speak of diabetes, it's a widespread problem in terms of the entire body.
Yes.
And vessels are what carries the blood to the body. Now, when it comes to diabetes, depending on stage 1 or stage type 1 or type 2, it does cause damage to the vessels. And the thing is, it's not like it's specific to the vessels in your hand,
right,
or it's specific to the vessels in your feet or the vessels in your heart. It affects everywhere. So over time, the problem, it might be affecting the coroners, affecting the heart, and that's what leads to heart problems. It might also affect your kidneys, and you have renal problem there. So diabetes doesn't just affect heart; it's everything.
It's everything,
and you don't know where it's gonna be damaged first, which is why it's better to prevent it rather than to treat. And the same for hypertension.
And are there any subtle signs or symptoms people often overlook that could indicate serious heart problems?
In terms of the signs, it varies among patients or among people. So it's not like I can tell you, oh, if you have shortness of breath, you need to go. That's one of the symptoms. But you do have patients who apparently they don't show any symptoms, and they just come in for a checkup, and they find that, some arteries is blocked or almost to a point where they're going to need it addressed. So there are things to look out for, like shortness of breath, or if you feel a stick in the heart. But I can't say once you see that it's a problem, because you could also feel it, and it's transient. It's not something that is lasting. So there isn't once you see this, you need to go.
Yes.
It's just try to get checkups as regular as possible, because you might have the condition without showing symptoms.
Okay. And what do you call, in terms of like a checkup time frame, should we do every 6 months, every year?
Well, yeah. I think it's recommended every 6 months. So at least twice for the year.
Twice for the year. And we just go to whether it's here at UE or a private doctor and just tell them that we want to do a checkup to see how the body's functioning.
Exactly.
Okay, great. And are heart attack symptoms different in women compared to men based on what you've seen so far?
Not that I've noticed. Once the heart attack happens, the infarction, then it's pretty similar across gender. There might be a difference in terms of it affecting men more, but I mean that's probably because of the male lifestyle as opposed to the female. Yeah. But in terms of how it affects them, no, it's pretty similar.
Okay. Now this question I've heard a lot growing up, where people say, "I got my heart broken," or "You can die from a broken heart." So is stress cardiomyopathy or broken heart syndrome real, and how does it work?
So I've heard that said recently. I didn't get to look into it fully, so I don't have all the information.
That's okay.
But even outside of just the heart, and that our mind is very powerful.
It is.
So if somebody does have a broken heart, or they're undergoing some heavy emotional situation, then I do believe that affects the body, not even just the heart, but generally. So I still have to look into the broken heart syndrome.
But there could be some truth to it.
I definitely think so.
Yes, because stress is one of the leading silent killers that we have nowadays, and it is something that can potentially send you into cardiac arrest. So there might be some truth behind that.
Right.
And I know you mentioned exercises earlier, but what type of exercise is most beneficial for cardiovascular health, and why? Because we don't want people to be in the gym lifting weights and things that's actually helping.
Well, the recommendation really is whatever gets the heart pumping,
right?
Because that's essentially what we want. So whether walking or jogging, those are usually recommended in terms of the type of exercises. If you're lifting in the gym, it more so builds muscles. It does help somewhat with the heart, so I wouldn't say you shouldn't do it. So, but the basics really is, as long as your heart is beating at a higher rate. So, yeah. Okay,
so if we can get some steps in daily, whether walk from point A to point B instead of taking a taxi, that will get the heart going a bit, and even that maybe 3 times a week helps us a bit.
It does.
Okay, great. And what personal qualities are important for someone pursuing a career as a perfusionist? And could you give us a few examples of qualities that wouldn't work in a career like this?
All right, so the first thing that comes to mind is it's important to be a team player.
Oh, yes.
As much as I'm a perfusionist and I'll operate in the machine, in the cardiac room, in the theater, it's a multidisciplinary situation. So you have anesthesiologists, you have the cardiac surgeon, you have nurses. And you're going to need to be able to communicate with them. Because if there's something happening on the nurse's side, they tend to let us know because it might affect us. And again, the patient is the main focus. So if you have something against the anesthesiologist and you need their help with something, I mean, it's going to be difficult to do that. So being a team player, I would say that's very important because communication is important and relating to the different disciplines in the theater.
Okay. So essentially, if you're someone that can't separate your work issues or your personal issues from what the patient needs, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest it because the patient has to come first over what you might be going through with somebody else in the theater.
Okay, understandable. And what advice would you give to someone recovering from heart surgery or a serious heart condition to protect their heart long term?
Well, we have to allow the body time to recover. So what that means is not doing anything too strenuous. So as much as we perform the surgery to have persons get back to their regular lives, they also have to keep in mind that it may not be exactly as they used to. So if they were doing a lot of lifting or operating heavy, handling heavy instruments and so forth, it might take a while to get back there. Right. So I would just say don't overdo it. Listen to your body. If you feel like you're doing too much, you probably are. So, slow down a bit. So just take time with the recovery and not try to rush back into what you've always been doing. Persons might just be doing what they want now and think, oh, I'm young. Yes. I don't have that to worry about. It actually is affecting persons younger. Wow. Yeah. And while being younger, yes, does provide you with a higher, resistance to it. It doesn't, you're not immune.
Right. So you can still get it.
You can still get it. So I think that it's important to clear up that misconception that it only affects you when you're in your 60s or only when you're in your 70s. It can happen when you're younger if you're not careful.
Okay. So I'm guessing while we're this young, we have a better chance of correcting that rather than when we're older.
Right.
Well, we just want to say a huge thank you, Mr. Linton, for just sitting with us, speaking with us on not just your role, but the heart on a whole, how we can protect it, how we can prevent certain issues, and a career most of us probably knew nothing about. So we hope that someday maybe we can have this conversation again when we have more technology or more machines to talk about. But we are grateful for the knowledge. So thank you once more.
No problem.
All right.